Hi, friends. This is a special episode of Honest EU discussions with Melanie and Kimberly. We're between episodes 5 and 6, and we have a special evening of discussion that we weren't planning until just last night. So yesterday, a Kentucky grand jury indicted a former Louisville police officer for wanton endangerment in connection with the death of Breonna Taylor back in March, but no other charges were filed. So this case has drawn national attention, and the decision is raising concerns and many emotions in our community. So I'm Melanie.
Hi, I'm Kimberly. I have an attitude.
Kimberly.
I have an attitude. I have a big attitude. And I can't sound nice on this episode, I have a feeling. I listened to that whole reading. What you just read is what hit the news. That's what happened. What I don't understand, well, I understand it. What I don't like is that it happened again. It happened again. It keeps happening again and again and again. And it's in the news. Okay, so we'll backtrack. For anybody who doesn't know about what happened to Breonna Taylor, Breonna Taylor was at home asleep in her own bed. Apparently, the police had a warrant for her ex-boyfriend and thought he might be at her house. They did not have to have a warrant or whatever. They kicked her door in, did not announce themselves, although they claim they did, although the neighbors claim they didn't, although the boyfriend, the current boyfriend who had no warrant, the current boyfriend said they did not. So as they slept and watched a movie, she was asleep, he was watching a movie, the police kicked their door in. Well, not announcing themselves, the boyfriend, who had a legal conceal and carry weapon, shot at who broke into his house. Sounds pretty right so far. The police then shot multiple rounds because they were being shot at and killed this woman in her home.
In her sleep.
Well, I think she had stood up by then because of the noise. Who is it? She yelled. Who is it? No one answered. That's
what I'm wondering. Like, she's got to be,
So she was asleep. She was awakened by someone breaking into her house.
Right.
So I guess they knocked. When she said, "Who is it?" they didn't say who it was. They knocked again. She said, "Who is it?" They didn't say who it was. Then they kicked the door in. Like anybody who is normal, they would have assumed that someone was breaking into their house.
And it would have been terrifying because I had that happen to once, and it was absolutely terrifying.
Okay, breathe, Kim.
Breathe.
Not only would it have been terrifying for anybody, it was definitely terrifying for her, and it ended in her death. Now, let's fast forward. After that happened, no charges were filed. No indictments, no arrests, no judgment, breathe. No justice. No justice again. So someone can kick my door in right now while I'm on this Zoom, shoot me up if I shoot first in my house with my conceal and carry license by law. And they get to just, I think the part about it that really pisses me off the most is that the one officer who had, I think, sexual assault charges against him already for a whole bunch of other cases, got charged with endangering the neighbors. Are you kidding me?
And what I heard was that the neighbors were white.
You
Was that true?
well, I don't care what color the neighbors were even at this point, but you endangered the neighbors. You've killed this woman. And the neighbors were in danger? Get on somewhere with that. How dare you say that the neighbors were in danger and she was not? And she's dead because of them.
Right.
That's it. It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yes.
It's absolutely deplorable. And it happened again.
Yeah. And I don't understand how, if we have these three people who have become the poster children for this happening over and over again, and people are wearing shirts that have their names on them, and you know, and not just people like me, but people like, you know, NFL players and Hollywood stars, and people are making a big deal about these three people. Their names, these are the three names that everybody knows. Breonna Taylor is one of the three names that everybody knows. Everybody knows. And yet we, the people speaking out and marching and protesting, it didn't matter. And that's what's so horrifying. It's like, what are we supposed to do? How do we fix this? It didn't matter that we did, that all these people, these important people are speaking out. It's like, what is it going to take? Why did this not matter?
Melanie, this is why when someone tells you all lives matter, you have to say, no, they don't. They don't. That is why there's a Black Lives Matter movement, because the Black lives don't matter. They never have. And they still don't, even when it's on the news, even when it's completely unjust, when it's deplorable. They don't matter. In America, their own homeland. This is why there's a Black Lives Matter movement. Because specifically, Black lives don't matter. And it's disgusting.
Yeah.
The end. Show over. You know, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
because I can promise you, if they kicked your door in and you shot back because somebody broke into your house, the officers would have been arrested, A, for not announcing themselves, B, for your murder, and there would have been outrage all over the country. The problem is the NRA said we can have a conceal and carry. Everybody can, but everybody cannot, because this is the second case of someone who had a legal conceal and carry shot by the police when their conceal and carry was recognized.
Right.
So everybody can conceal and carry except me? I think not. It's not fair. It's
not fair.
unjust.
And I hate that you have to say that Black lives don't matter, because of course they do. Of course you matter. You matter as much as I matter. And so many of us know that. So many of us know that. And what do we have to do to make everybody know that? Because obviously, I mean, you're just as much of a person. You're the same as me. You're a mom, you work, you're the same age as I am, we have the same high school. I mean, you're not less than anything.
I am valuable. I am human and I am valuable.
Valuable. We're the same. You have as much value as me as anybody else. I'm not less than you, you're not less than me. You're a valuable human being.
But this bronze beautiful skin makes me invaluable in America, according to, I guess, the law. according to, I guess, the citizens, according to, I guess, other people. This perpetual tan that so many people try and get in the summertime that don't have it makes me invaluable. And on every single solitary spectrum, no matter what I do, no matter how many degrees I get, no matter how well I do in school, no matter how good my credit could be, no matter what, I am reminded every second of every day that this tan makes me invaluable. And I better stay in my place. And that's the facts. So, case in point, they showed us again what they think.
Yeah.
Again. So if you're a police officer, blue lives matter? Yeah, because all lives matter. But if you're going to sit up and tell me that blue lives matter, of course, we all count on the police to do their job. We thank them for what they do. We thank them for their tireless, effortless, putting themselves in danger for the collective community. But when you go around blatantly murdering people and people say, hey, that was wrong. Do you know that Black Lives Matter? And they say, hey, wait a minute, blue lives matter. You missed me on that one real quick. I know neighborhoods, if you call 911, you get put on hold. I know neighborhoods, you call 911, the police don't come. So blue lives, yeah, they matter, but so do the constituents who pay your salary.
Right. And you can take off your blue uniform. And you can.
I didn't hear you say that again.
You can take off your blue uniform.
I mean, yeah, you can take your blue uniform off. You can become a citizen.
Yeah.
You can be whatever it is that you want to be once you take your uniform off, but the tan stays.
Right. Right.
That's like saying teachers' lives matter. I mean, you know, it's a job. It sounds stupid. Teachers' lives matter too, Melanie. Did you know that? Did you know there are kids that cuss you out all day long and call you all kind of mean things? And little kids, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, will cuss you out like a grown man and put their hands on you, beat you up. And all you can do is, oh, don't touch them because you'll lose your job. So yeah, teachers' lives matter too. But you're going to tell me blue lives matter? And you're walking around abusing your power? You need to be stripped of your blue uniform, and your life should be put into prison where it belongs because you have become a murderer. It was not an accident.
Right.
There's protocol in place for certain reasons, so those type of accidents do not happen. Had they followed the rules, which they did not do, there wouldn't have been an accident.
Right.
So we can take that one from being an accident, we can call that one an on purpose. Again, it's another on purpose. Wasn't an accident. You didn't accidentally kick her door in. You didn't know they were going to shoot at you. So what were you going to do when you went in had they not shot first?
Right. Right.
You were going to go and shoot because your guns were out. Your guns were out.
Right.
We don't know what we're going to expect on the other side of the door. Then don't go in.
Right. I think they actually
wait until they come outside.
The radio. They did.
They did. And they usually come in at 6 in the morning, and they usually come in at 6 in the morning for a reason.
Right.
It's daylight. Someone actually may be awake. I know the element of surprise is supposed to be, she probably would have been surprised at 6 a.m. Surprise, it's early in the morning and the police are here.
Yeah.
Okay, the sun's out. It's not prime burglary break-in time.
Right.
After 10 p.m., someone who kicks your door in is usually trying to kill you or rob you. And look at
For
that.
sure.
They killed her anyway. And she was right. She was right. He was right. They were both right. Someone's coming in to kill you. And
Right.
they did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And so they did
Without
the right
punishment. They did the right thing. They protected their home. That's
right.
I thought that was something that we were allotted in the Constitution. You have the right to bear arms so that you can protect your home.
Protect your home, exactly. Right. And that's what everybody
And
keeps
as they
talking about.
protected their home,
It got them shot.
right. And then people want to bring up his record, her record, and come on now, who cares? Oh, well, if her ex-boyfriend wasn't a drug dealer, I think that's probably why he was an ex.
Right. 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 And I
She
think
made the wise choice to get away from him.
and that seems to be a running theme. It's like, wow, but their background, it's like, yeah, that's not relevant when you kill somebody. Their background.
Damn their background. I mean,
right.
You can run a background on anybody and find something, first of all. And second of all, if you are, it doesn't matter what their background was. If they weren't doing that thing at that particular moment.
Right.
If they weren't killing, calm down. If they weren't killing somebody at that particular moment, there should not be deadly force.
Correct.
And when, I can't even remember his name right now because I'm so angry, but when the guy went in the church and killed 9 people who were worshiping the Lord, what safer place can you be than in church worshiping the Lord? Someone comes in and prays with you and then kills 9 of you. And they were able to apprehend him with no problem whatsoever. His background didn't come out at all. And they took him to get some food because he was hungry. Well, killing all those people sure worked up an appetite for you. Let's take you on to, I don't know if it was Burger King or Wendy's, and get you something to eat before we take you to jail. What? Get out of here. Systemic racism. Systemic, it's ongoing. Systemic, it doesn't stop. Systemic, it's secular. It keeps going around and spirals in a circle. It will not stop. The racism that's taught, the racism that exists in our country. And when people say, oh, the slavery was a long time ago, get over it. What? If it wasn't still happening, there'd be nothing to get over. But since it's still happening, because it hasn't stopped, because it's systemic, because it's ongoing, because it's still here, because people are still dying, because people are still being murdered, lynched from a tree. What's the difference? Now shot by the police. Are the police the new slavery overseers? Because it seems like they are.
Yeah, it seems like they just use it as an excuse.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. Let's put the brown men and women into prison instead of slavery. Or let's just shoot them instead of lynch them from a tree. It's the same thing. There are more men in prison right now than are dateable. Not to mention all the men who are getting out of jail wrongly accused 30, 20 years later. Whole life gone.
Yeah.
No children, no college, no happy life, no 50-year wedding anniversary because you got your life was stolen from you. It's just like that movie 12 Years a Slave. Tricked and taken into slavery. The sickness of it all. The audacity of it all. The brutality of it all. It's disgusting. I keep saying the same thing. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. Yeah, yes. When I came home yesterday and
I'm ranting, I understand, but
my son was sitting here and I said, they charged him with something, and my younger son was sitting here, he goes, no. I'm like, yeah, they charged him, it's good. And he's like, no. And I hadn't heard the whole.
they charged him with something stupid.
Yeah, and I was like, well,
You got charged with something stupid that'll last a second.
It had nothing to do with her. Yeah.
That was good behavior. He'll be out shortly if he goes in at all.
I think it was 1 to 5 years with a $15,000 whatever bail or something. Not enough.
She's dead forever at 27 years old. So you just shaved 65 years off of her life.
Yeah.
Of her being a productive citizen, of her having children, of her living a life that way, of her doing whatever she wants to do because she can.
Right.
Stripped. Nothing anybody can do about it. You can't bring her back. She's just dead. Finally, in all finality, she's dead.
Yes.
No do-overs, no comeback, no I'm sorry. None of that can do anything. Oh, we offered her family $12 million. For what? Because you were wrong?
Right.
Because you screwed up?
Which is admission.
And then people, she took the money. Yeah. Oh, she took the money. Of course she took the money.
She took the money. Why wouldn't she take the money?
You're going to do something.
Her mother took the money, right?
I can't even imagine that you could put a price tag on somebody's life in the first place.
Right.
And if you were going to offer 12, I bet you were going to offer more if she had counteracted.
Well, and just
because you were that wrong.
And it's an admission of guilt. It's an admission of anytime there's a settlement, it's still an admission that something was not as it should be.
Yeah.
I hope that
Yep.
And that the fact that everybody knows Breonna Taylor's name, I hope that in her death that something good comes of it, because maybe it will. I mean, people are definitely more aware and standing up for other people's rights at this point. And I hope that she didn't die in vain. I hope that something good comes of it, eventually.
I love the sentiment. She did die in vain. She's already in vain. And she's yet another name. I mean, we know her name. Breonna Taylor, we know it. We say it. So many other names. There's so many other names. So many other names. Names we don't know. Names only the family know.
Right.
I mean, we can still say Emmett Till's name. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And that was before we were even born.
There was we were born, yeah. It's a long time ago.
Martin Luther King, say his name too.
Yeah.
He died. And look at this. He died on my actual due date.
Oh, really?
That was the date I was supposed to be born. I was born actually a month and 2 days later. Say his name. Say Malcolm X's name. Say all the big names that, stick with us. But there's so many names that don't get said because we don't even know them.
Yeah.
All the men that are wrongly put in jail, say their names. All the men who got wrongly put in jail and executed, say their names. All the men who went to jail wrongly accused and got killed in prison, say their names. All the ones in jail for petty marijuana charges, and now marijuana is legal, say their name.
Those people need to be let out. They just need to be let out. They just need to be let out. Like, they need to be let out.
So many names.
So many.
If you could hear it all, it would be so noisy. If everybody shouted one person's name at the exact same time, the noise would be unbearable. So many names. She died in vain. It's unfortunate. Again, she died in vain. Again, unfortunate, blatant, on camera, on TV, on the news, in the media, everywhere, every forum that we have to undo something like that. Nope. The only thing they didn't do was do an Amber Alert. Because, you know, if you didn't know, they don't really do Amber Alerts for Black children when they disappear, which leads to my next issue. In Chicago, for those of you who don't know, there's a guy, Mr. Hollingsworth, I think his first name is Adam, not sure, the dreadlock cowboy. I love his story. He protests on his horse because he's a rodeo cowboy. He has a rodeo horse. Okay, I've ridden my whole life. I know horses. I love the rodeo. I love I love the smell of the rodeo, even though it stinks, you know? I love watching them do the tricks on the horse. I love the rodeo. I love riding horses. I love it. That's my hidden thing. And this guy decided that he was going to protest Black children being killed in the city. So he rode his horse, escorted by, I don't know, 7 or 8 different people on motorcycles. So him and the horse were protected by traffic. He shut down traffic for, I don't know, maybe an hour, maybe. And at the end of his ride, he had people in place who were going to water his horse, feed his horse, you know, do whatever they needed to do, brush him down, cool him off. The horse wasn't running, it was trotting. Wasn't running, it was trotting. So a horse can trot for hours without overheating, dehydrating, all that. At the end of his ride, of course, he had those things in place for his horse because he knows his horse and he knows what he's doing because he's a rodeo cowboy. He rode the horse down the outer drive around rush hour. By the time he got from 47th Street to 95th Street, the state troopers were there, and they took him into custody and arrested him and charged him with a felony. And not only that, they confiscated his horse. There was a man who was there at the end, because I saw it on the news as it was live. And I agree with his protest. Black children's lives do matter. It's not unlike when the teachers and the Chicago Teachers Union walked downtown and shut down Lakeshore Drive or Dearborn Street or any other street that got shut down during a protest. I think that's the part that bugs me. Why is he arrested for a felony when the streets get shut down for protests all the time?
Yeah.
All the time. Now they're saying that his horse was so badly malnourished and dehydrated and cut, and his hoofs were cut and bleeding because he was riding on concrete. I'm sorry, the police ride horses on concrete as well.
Yeah.
We have mounted police in Chicago. Those horses ride all day long, and they ride on concrete. So I know he knows his horse because, again, he's a rodeo cowboy. His horse, there was somebody at the end of the road, literally at the end of the road. And when the state trooper went to grab the horse's reins, and I will go ahead and add snatch the horse's reins because I saw it. There was a man who was holding the reins already, and he was like, I got the horse. I've got him. Don't worry about it. If you're taking him to jail and he's willing to go, take him, and we've got the horse. They snatched the horse from this man, and the horse looked like, hey, I don't know you. And it looked like he was about to attack the trooper because the horse did not know this trooper. You can't just handle a horse
Right.
unless you're experienced. This man was not, let me take that back. I don't know if this man was experienced or not, because he was not a mounted police. He was in he was a Illinois state trooper, and he was in his vehicle snatching horse reins. And the guy who had him was, clearly like, we kind of figured you would do this. We're taking the horse. We've got him. We're going to go to water him. We're going to go feed him. We're going to do all the things, and we're going to take him back where he belongs. Then they took the horse, confiscated the horse like the same way you impound a vehicle. And then the next day, all of a sudden, the horse is dehydrated. The horse has got bloody hoofs. And now maybe the horse hit something along the Dan Ryan because it's full of debris, which it's not supposed to be. But perhaps something did happen, and perhaps the horse got cut. But if he had been with his trainer and his owner, they would have taken care of that instantly. Nobody's going to allow their horse, especially a trained rodeo horse. I mean, that's hard to come by. You're not going to let that fester. You're not going to let him, I'm going to call the horse a him. I don't know if it's a boy or girl horse, whatever. But you're not going to let that horse suffer because he's valuable, not in a way of monetary value, but in the way of how are you going to have time to train another horse like that? And when the troopers came and got this guy, Mr. Hollingsworth, well, I'll tell you what an incredible rider he was. He was standing on the saddle
Oh, wow.
of the horse. The horse was trained enough to stand still. He could also, and this is where the cowgirl in me wants to come out because of this whole rodeo thing. He was riding down down the Dan Ryan, standing on the saddle, and the horse was galloping. They're good. That's hard. That's so hard to do. That's so much training going on, getting that right. I've never seen anybody, except at the rodeo, stand on the saddle while the horse slowly gallops or trots and not fall off and bust your face. I mean, this is good. This is a good team together. And when the police came, he was standing on the saddle and they're, get down. So in one swoop, whoosh, he hops down and sits. No, get all the way down. So he hops off and they immediately arrested him. The skill.
I'm just looking it up right now because when
I don't believe.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I don't believe that there was anything wrong with that horse. And if it was dehydrated, it's because nobody gave him water until hours later when he was supposed to have gotten water at the end of the ride.
Right. Well,
he wouldn't have dehydrated his own animal.
It says that he rode his horse to exhaustion and narrowly close to death while protesting gun violence against children on the
bullshit
earlier this week. So
I said it.
What the Cook County
bullshit.
prosecutors are saying, I don't know.
The horse went from 47th Street to 95th Street. I can walk it. It's far, but I can walk it. I'm not going to die at the end of the walk.
Right. It's been a week. It's been quite a week.
What is that?
Thursday.
Yeah, it's 50 blocks.
Yeah.
The marathon in Chicago lasts more blocks than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? The Shamrock Shuffle is longer than that. No one dies from it. And these are people. A horse has way more endurance than a person does. It just, that story, those two stories burned me up this week. Burned me up. And people were on Facebook talking about it. And, oh, the cowboy was so mean to the horse. How do you know? You know, how do you know? Have you ever ridden a horse? Have you ever been to the rodeo? Have you had a horse? Do you own a horse? Do you know anything about horses? It's another one of those things. And he was protesting a good cause.
Yeah.
And he rode around for the census. I think it was at the beginning of the summer. He rode trying to get people to sign up for the census. So this is not, a horrible person. This is someone who's trying to make change. Good change, not bad change.
Right. Right.
I enjoyed seeing his eco-friendly ride. He was, he had no pollution. You know what I mean? He can't get any greener than riding a horse in protest.
And we need more people like this, more people who are willing to get out there.
Right, my hero. What a cause. Yeah. Thanks for taking that on yourself, sir. I applaud you.
We got a lot of work to do.
Taking their dog to a protest. What are you going to say? The person endangered the dog because they walked in a protest with their dog all day? No.
Well, we could get into a whole thing about animal rights over people's rights, and that would be a whole nother show, but yeah.
And look, animal rights over Black lives, again. My dog has more rights in this city than I do. That's a shame.
It is a shame. Yeah.
So they can come confiscate. If I walk down in a protest, let's say for CTU, because I'm a teacher and that's what we've done. Let's say I brought my dog on the protest. At the end, I'm going to get arrested and have my dog snatched from me because we walked in a protest together.
I can see that happening.
Look, since when? Yeah. People do it all the time. Since when?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Once again, ridiculous.
On that note, I don't have anything more to contribute other than that I hope you know that I stand with you, I see you, I hear you, I love you.
Thanks. Thank you. And that's big. That's huge. One down, a bunch more to go.
Yeah. Join us, everybody. Help us. We got to change this. It can't keep going this way. She is as valuable as I am, as you are. We've got to change this.
Because I can guarantee one thing. If it doesn't change, and if it doesn't change soon, it's going to be a problem in America, a big problem. And when we talked before about being afraid of Black people, it's going to be an issue.
You're going to give us some reason to be afraid? Yeah.
It's going to be an issue. And it will be a justifiable issue. So far, everybody's just getting along, still just getting along. Ooh, we're going to take another one. All right, we're going to take another one. But when that boils over and becomes too much to get along, it's going to blow up. And then that's going to be real scary. That's going to be scary for everybody because everybody won't be at fault. And then it's going to be, when you try and contain things, and when all hell breaks loose, the looting is just, it's ridiculous and it's stupid. But that's no big deal. Yeah. Stores have been shut down. That's horrible. But all that stuff can be replaced. That's what insurance is for.
Right.
Now we're talking lives.
Wanda posted a really good quote by Frederick Douglass, and I don't remember it exactly, but it was something along the lines of, you know, if you're not going to listen to us, we're going to get mad, and we're going to do things that are not so acceptable. And that's just the way it's going to have to be. And unfortunately, I'm sure Frederick Douglass was right, because I'm seeing it happening. He was a wise man, who just seemed to know so much more than he was even allowed to know. And if you haven't read him, the narrative of Frederick Douglass is so eye-opening. We got a lot of ground to cover. Read some books, watch some things. There's tons of stuff on Netflix. There's tons of stuff on Amazon. There's a million books out there. But we should probably start posting some things and books and things to read. There's lots of stuff that we can do to educate ourselves so that we can.
It's like right now there's a kettle on the stove and it's bubbling and the whistle's about to blow.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's turn that flame down, shall we?
Yes. Don't fan it. You definitely stop.
Don't fan it. Turn it down. Yeah.
No more blowing. Blow it out.
Yeah.
Because it's not gonna be pretty. It's just not. And you can't. Nobody's gonna get over it anymore. No one's gonna get along anymore. No one's gonna go be a good little girl and sit down. Be a good man and keep your family and your woman in check. None of that's gonna happen anymore. And these young kids, they're different. They are not our we are not our ancestors. Yeah. So that's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing. And it needs to be recognized. All that shucking and jiving and getting along and being a good black person, go be a good black person. No. There's only so much patience people can have. Right.
And it's time to do better.
There's only so many people you can kill and get away with it. You've just gone too far. It's gone way too far. Way too far. Again.
It's time to start doing better. We got to do better. So that's our show for tonight, folks. We will see you next week. Love you.
Have a good week. Love, love, love. Keep that love going. Keep that love going, because that's all we've got. That's all we can do.
Well, I love you, Kimberly.
Love you too, sweetheart. Have a good week.
You too.
Everybody, we'll see you next week. Please like, share, subscribe, have a conversation with your friends, have a conversation with your children, have a conversation with your coworkers. Let's have some conversations going, please. We need them.
And if you have any questions for us, or if you have anything you want to discuss with us, honestediscussions@gmail.com. See you next week.
See you next week.